Happy New Year once again, and welcome back to another video here. We are looking at Year of the Serpent because it is Chinese New Year, and I thought I'd get in the spirit. We've got our Wikipedia article here on Snake, the video game. And I guess it's about genre, but the Nokia phone game in that genre, Snake 1988. I'm pretty sure that's what I played when we went to not Scary Farm that one year. And that was pretty cool. But we had Snake is a genre of action video games where the player maneuvers the end of a growing line, often themed as a snake. The player must keep the snake from colliding with both other obstacles and itself, which gets harder as the snake lengthens. Exactly. The genre originated in the 1976 competitive arcade video game Blockade from Gremlin Industries, where the goal is to survive longer than the other player. Blockade and the initial wave of clones that followed were purely abstract and did not use snake terminology. The concept evolved into a single-player variant where a line with a head and tail gets longer with each piece of food eaten, often apples or eggs, increasing the likelihood of self-collision. The simplicity and low technical requirements of snake games have resulted in hundreds of versions, some of which have the word snake or worm in the title. The 1982 Tron arcade video game, based on the film, includes snake gameplay for the single-player light cycle segment, and some later snake games borrow the theme. After a version simply called Snake was preloaded on Nokia mobile phones in 1988, there was a resurgence of interest in the Snake games. Booyah! And I don't know how much of this will actually go through. Oh, come on. Okay. The original Blockade from 1976 and its many clones were two-player games. Viewed from a top-down perspective, each player controls a snake with a fixed starting position. The head of the snake eventually moves forward, unable to stop, growing ever longer. It must be steered left, right, up, and down to avoid hitting walls and the body of either snake. The player who survives the longest wins. Single-player versions are less prevalent and have one or more snakes controlled by the computer, as in the light cycle segment of the 1982 Tron arcade game. In the most common single-player game, the player snake is of a certain length, so when the head moves, the tail does too. Each item eaten by the snake causes the snake to get longer. Snake bite has the snake eating apples. Nibbler has the snake eating abstract objects in a maze. And let's see, we already talked about the history here, starting with Blockade. The first known home computer version, Worm, was programmed by Peter Trifonus for the TRS-80 and published by Cloud magazine in 1978. Versions followed from the same author for the PET and Apple II. An authorized version of the Hustle arcade game, itself a clone of Blockade, was published by Milton Bradley for the TI-99/4A in 1980. Single-player Snakebite was published in 1982 for Atari 8-bit computers, Apple II, and VIC-20. The snake eats apples to complete a level, growing longer in the process. In Snake for the BBC Micro, 1982, by Dave Bresnan, the snake is controlled using the left and right arrow keys relative to the direction it's heading in. The snake increases speed as it gets longer, and there's only one life. Nibbler is a 1982 is a single-player arcade game where the snake fits tightly into a maze, and the gameplay is faster than most snake designs. Another single-player version is part of the 1982 Tron arcade games themed with light cycles. It reinvigorated the snake concept, and many subsequent games borrowed the light cycle theme. Starting in 1991, Nibbles was included at the MS-DOS for a period of time as a QBasic sample program. In 1992, Rattler Race was released as part of the second Microsoft Entertainment Pack. It adds enemy snakes to the familiar apple-eating gameplay. And I'll link this so you can, well, no, Legacy's not long. In 1996, Next Generation ranked it as number 41 on their top 100 games of all time, citing both the need for quick reactions and forethought in lieu of a title for a specific version. They listed it as Snake Game in quotes. On November 29th, 2012, the Museum of Modern Art in New York City announced that the Nokia port of Snake was one of 40 games that the curators wish to add to the museum's collection in the future. Boom! And all their references are there. So I'll link Wikipedia in the description. But I thought, what better way to celebrate this than go over a few of the snakes in video games. And let's wait for the gamer.com to load. We've got 8 best snakes in video games. And I'm sure you recognize those. But let's scroll down. And scroll down. And number 8, we've got Trouser Ukulele. The developers from Rare, who founded and work at Playtonic Games, made their mark on the industry with cute and adorable characters that were humorous and added to the immersion and vibes of the worlds they created. Ukulele was their first major release, and it featured plenty of characters that were reminiscent of older games like Banjo-Kazooie and Spyro the Dragon. Trouser is an adventurous red snake who comedically wears pants and helps teach Yuka, the main playable character, abilities at the cost of quills you collect throughout. Okay, interesting. Haven't played it. Anaconda, Red Dead Redemption 2. You may have played Red Dead Redemption 2, but running into the giant anaconda in the Wild West isn't something attached to a side mission or point of interest. Unlike much of the other wildlife in the game, you won't have to kill it yourself as it hangs dead on the tree where you can come across it. That location in question is the Scarlet Meadows just south of Pleasance, and the sheer size and orange-brown color of the serpent makes it hard to miss. It's unclear if this Easter egg is a reference to the film Anaconda, the religious fable related to the Garden of Eden, or perhaps Ka from the Jungle Book animated film. And it does make you wonder. Why that's there if it's dead. Although, I mean, it is better than that one. We're going to go back up for the title here. If the computer and internet would cooperate, because, hey, I'm not filming here or anything. Okay. 8 best snakes. Best snake? So you got a helper snake and a dead snake. Okay. I thought it was something strange. Number 6. Set Kukulkan or Smite. Most gamers are familiar with League of Legends, but Smite happens to be another multiplayer online battle arena or MOBA that has seen elongated success in the genre, and that's right, I downloaded it and never played it. The game features dozens of gods from various mythologies, each with their own movesets and class they belong to. Kukulkan, forgive me for the pronunciation if I'm mistaking it. Serpent of the 9 Winds hails from the Mayan pantheon of gods and is a terrifying winged serpent that belongs to Smite's mage class. Kukulkan's strengths are that it can clear minion waves and slow enemy movement, but it comes at the cost of having rather limited mobility. It doesn't hurt that Kukulkan's ultimate ability is a rather dazzling display of power in a wide straight line in front of it. Hey, now that is a good entry. Number 5, God-Devouring Serpent, Rykar, Lord of Blasphemy, Elden Ring. Okay, as you know, I didn't get very far in that, so I don't know what they're talking about, but let's see. Kind of blew that because I'm used to ads popping up. But anyway, the newest snake to take over the world of gaming happens to be a cursed human who serves as an optional boss in Elden Ring. Ooh. The Rykar, Lord of Blasphemy, is the second phase of a boss fight that starts with you taking stage against a giant snake called the God-Devouring Serpent. He's considered one of the uglier character designs in all of From Software's latest hits and can be quite difficult to look at. Thankfully, if your fear of snakes is at an extreme level, this boss can be avoided and doesn't need to be defeated to beat the game. But doesn't need to be defeated to get 100% of achievements or trophies. That's the question. Coming in number 4, previously leaked. Or not. Come on. I bet if there were fewer ads on this site, it would scroll much sooner. Giant Serpent, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. A little bit more. See, I don't need this stupid commercial video popping up. Or whatever that ugly thing is. Okay, well, there's the picture, and apparently you gotta scroll down. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice was a From Software title, unfortunately published by Activision, that had you take on the role of the titular character Sekiro. You were a shinobi tasked with protecting and saving the divine heir who went by the name Kuro. The game has you take on several horrifying creatures and haunted spirits, but none caught players more off guard than the initial reveal of the Great Serpent. This albino snake makes multiple appearances in the game, serving as a blockade to your progress, but if you do things in a certain order, you'll be rewarded with a satisfying and over-the-top event in which you can bring down the Great Serpent once and for all. Ooh, that does sound interesting. Okay, moving on. Noodle? Snake Pass? Alright, let's see. The hit indie title Snake Pass, developed and published by Sumo Digital, had you control a friendly snake named Noodle. The game focused on puzzle platforming and brought a refreshing set of gameplay mechanics to the genre. Noodle seems to be an eastern hognose snake sporting a dazzling body comprised of orange, yellow, and black stripes. The game is relatively short, consisting of just 15 levels, and controlling Noodle throughout results in a relaxing and cathartic experience. Well, it may not look as good as some of the other serpents on the list, but you do get to control it, so I guess it gets points for that. Number 2, Jormungandr, God of War, yeah. Jormungandr, often referred to as the World Serpent, is a larger-than-life character that plays a major role in Kratos' journey through 2018's God of War. He's awakened by Kratos and his son while he's in a deep sleep under the Lake of Nine surface. Norse mythology states the giant snake fights Thor, the god of thunder, during the events of Ragnarok. Yeah, that game was awesome. The event is the focus of the sequel to the 2018 game, with the name Ragnarok being a subtitle. Fan theories have wildly speculated that the World Serpent's appearance is a bit too similar to that of Kratos, and those fans believe a big twist to the story will be that Jormungandr is a different version of Kratos, cursed to live as the World Serpent. Interesting. I guess we'll have to hide and watch. And number 1, as you can probably guess from the beginning of this article from the Gamer, if I didn't mention that before, I'll link it of course, is Steelix, the Pokemon. Yeah, scrolling is good. And there we go. Following the release of Pokemon Red and Blue, fans were curious to see if the second generation of games would have Pokemon as interesting or cool as the original 151 creatures of the Kanto region. It was quickly clear Johto would not disappoint, especially when the evolution of Onix was revealed. By trading the Rock Snake Pokemon while it held an item called Metal Coat, it would evolve into the Steel and Rock type Iron Snake Pokemon known as Steelix. Its flashy and intimidating design made it a fan favorite out of the gate, and to this day, many people love how much of a defensive force it is in battle. Yes, I loved it too. It does add a fire weakness and a ground weakness, but it looks totally badass. The shiny is gold, not crystal like the one episode of the anime, or Pokemon cartoon if you will. But yeah, Steelix is cool. So I don't know why they only made a list of 8, which is why I thought of a few other ones to add to the list real quick. Of course, one of my favorite games, I talk about it almost as much as I talk about Castlevania, if the tab would load here, is Mega Man 3, and just a quick search calls up this awesome looking design for, well, first you get to fight him here, He's using his Shadow Blade, so that's gonna be a quick kill. Unlike when I did the Buster challenge there. But yeah, so and then you get to use his weapon, which is totally cool too. So that was Snake Man, and then I can't believe that they brought Jormungandr in there, but totally forgot about. Come on, load please. The Midgar Zolom from Final Fantasy VII. Now I don't know if it's in the not remake, if it's in Rebirth, but yeah, the giant species, a giant serpent in Final Fantasy VII that dwells within the marshlands leading to the Mithril Mine. It uses and can bestow the beta enemy skill. Yeah, so you'll want that. You'll want to be holding the materia. You'll want them to cast it on you, and then you can kill him. Although, at the beginning of the game, unless you farm some levels, it can be rather challenging. And again, just load the site. You don't need all this extra crap. Midgar Zolom appears as a gray serpentine shadow gliding across the marsh. Riding a chocobo is fast enough to outrun it, although this can be done on foot if the player is precise. I've done both methods, well, all three methods, if you include fighting it. After traversing the swamp for the first time, the player enters a one-time field location named Marshes, where a Midgar Zolom is impaled on a tree, leading the party to speculate the feat was done by Sephiroth. If the player enters the menu the moment the scene is about to play, they can skip it. Midgar Zolom will respawn endlessly. Yeah. And if you want even more stuff to kill, in one or both of the versions, I'm not sure if it's Super Nintendo or Genesis, but if you play Aladdin, you will be able to fight a version of Cobra Jafar. So, let's see. This says Disney's Aladdin SNES final boss. Of course, if I click it, it's going to lead to... Oh, no, it did lead to that and not the YouTube link, so that's cool. And you can also play as him or the new release for 2025, Ka from the Jungle Book, in if the tab ever loads. My god, this is slow today. I probably have too many tabs open just because I want to shoot a video. But Tsumutsu. So you've got Cobra Jafar, both the English version and the Japanese version there. But he'll come on screen, do a vertical slash down from the top of the screen, and wipe out some tunes that way. So, yep, pretty cool stuff. And if you want even more snake game in action here, do a Man vs. Snake Nibbler or Man vs. Snake Nibbler full movie search here on YouTube, and you will see not only the official trailer for the Long and Twisted Tale of Nibbler, but the Obsolete Gamer Show, Tim McVeigh, Man vs. Snake. I'm not sure if that's the full movie. I seem to remember it being 2 hours when I watched it ages ago. Shout out to Chris for that. But yeah, that's some interesting stuff there. And last but not least, if you do a quick Google search for Snake Game, you should be able to come up with I'm not sure if I actually searched for it, if it just automatically popped up because it was the Lunar New Year. But Year of the Snake, you can click play, and it will take you to Google's version of Snake. And there's a daily challenge. I don't know what that is, but you can see this one's eating oranges. But yeah, so I had a little bit of fun with that. You know, it kept me entertained for a little bit, and I was hell bent on breaking 100 on this, not getting a complete snake, because you either have to be a freak or have perfect controls. But yeah, and it also clears your score. I got 133 earlier on the PC version here. The mobile version actually has a longer screen and touch control, so you can play however you want to play. Although I did do a little bit better here with the keys here, and WASD will work just as good. Yeah, and when the computer is not happy, that's what happens, and that killed me several times here. But you can see it's already lagging, and because I'm using too much processing on tabs or whatever. Okay, we finally got a decent game going here. Of course, this could take forever. But yeah, so you can see the snake's pretty fun. You can kill yourself by running into yourself, and like I said, let me know in the comments if you managed to beat 133 here, which it erased. Oh no, I took a picture, but so there is proof. But I'll spare you that. But yeah, let me know what games you're playing in Year of the Serpent, and yeah, if you like snakes or afraid of snakes or whatever else you want to comment in the comments. So, as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep dancing.